The holographic display flickered to life, casting an eerie blue glow across Chancellor Harvey Ross's office. The familiar emblem of the Galactic Council materialized, its intricate design a stark reminder of humanity's place in the cosmos. Ross straightened his tie, a habit born of years of diplomatic encounters. But this time, an unsettling chill ran down his spine. Counselor Mordenkai's reptilian features came into focus, his scaled skin glistening under the artificial light of the council chambers. The alien's multifaceted eyes seemed to bore into Ross, even through the holographic projection. "Greetings, Chancellor Ross." Mordenkai's voice dripped with false cordiality. "The Galactic Council has reached a decision regarding your quaint little planet." Ross's jaw clenched, but he maintained his composure. "I'm listening, Counselor. Earth's resources have become, shall we say, of interest to the greater galactic community," Mordenkai continued, a hint of amusement in his tone. "The Council has voted to begin extraction operations immediately." The words hung in the air like a death sentence. Ross's mind raced, but his face remained a mask of calm. "Surely, Counselor, you're aware that Earth is a sovereign world. We have rights under the Galactic Charter." Mordenkai's laughter cut him off, a harsh, grating sound. "Rights? Oh, Chancellor, how charmingly naive. This isn't a request, it's a courtesy notice. Prepare your world for our arrival." The hologram winked out, leaving Ross alone in the sudden darkness. He slumped in his chair, the weight of the galaxy pressing down on his shoulders. His hand hovered over the emergency comm button, trembling slightly before he steeled himself and pressed it. Alarms blared throughout the United Earth government complex. Within minutes, the Situation Room was a flurry of activity. Military leaders, scientists, and politicians poured in, their faces etched with concern and determination. Admiral Patrick Spencer, a man with steel-gray hair and piercing blue eyes, was the first to speak. "Chancellor, what's the situation?" Ross took a deep breath, his gaze sweeping across the room. "The Galactic Council has decided to extract Earth's resources. They're not asking permission." The room erupted into chaos. Voices overlapped, ranging from outrage to panic. Dr. Julianne Ang, Earth's leading xenobiologist, slammed her hand on the table. "This is a violation of every treaty we've signed." "Treaties mean nothing if they won't honor them," General Morgan Holt growled, his massive frame looming over the holographic display of Earth's defense grid. Ross raised his hand, silencing the room. "We've known this day might come. Ever since we began distancing ourselves from the Council's more questionable decisions." A hush fell over the assembly as Ross activated a secure data feed. Images and reports flashed across the screens, detailing years of gradual withdrawal from Galactic Council initiatives. Trade agreements left unsigned, joint military exercises declined, cultural exchange programs quietly shuttered. "We've been preparing for this," Ross continued, his voice steady. "Operation Bulwark is now active." Admiral Spencer nodded grimly. "Our deep space sensors are at full capacity. If they make a move, we'll know." Dr. Ang interjected, her voice tight with concern. "Chancellor, surely there's still room for diplomacy. We can't possibly hope to stand against the full might of the Council." Ross met her gaze, a flicker of something. Determination? Resignation? Passing across his features. "You're right, Julianne. We can't abandon diplomacy, not yet. That's why I'm going back." The room fell silent, tension crackling in the air like static electricity. "Chancellor, with all due respect, that's suicide," General Holt protested. "They could take you hostage or worse." Ross shook his head. "It's a risk we have to take. If there's even a chance of resolving this peacefully, we must try. But make no mistake, this is our last diplomatic effort. If it fails..." He let the implication hang in the air. Admiral Spencer stepped forward, his voice low and intense. "We will be ready, sir." Ross nodded, a grim smile playing at the corners of his mouth. "Let's hope it doesn't come to that, Patrick. But if it does..." Humanity will remind the galaxy why they call us Death Worlders. The next few hours were a whirlwind of activity. As Ross prepared for his journey to the Galactic Council headquarters, Earth's defenses were quietly brought to full alert. Stealth satellites repositioned themselves in the dark spaces between planets. Hey there, hope you're enjoying the video so far. If you do, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps the channel to grow and reach more people. Now let's find out what comes next. Hidden shipyards deep within the asteroid belt hummed with activity as sleek, predatory vessels slipped their moorings. In his private quarters, Ross stood before a mirror, adjusting his formal attire. The weight of humanity's fate rested heavily on his shoulders. A soft chime announced a visitor. Dr. Ang entered, her face etched with concern. "Harvey," she said softly, using his first name in the privacy of the moment. "Are you sure about this?" Ross turned to face her, his eyes filled with a mix of determination and resignation. "We have to try, Julianne. For all our advances, for all our preparation, war would devastate us all." She nodded, stepping closer. "I know. But the Council, they've changed. The ideals we once shared seem like distant memories now." "Perhaps," Ross mused, "but there might still be allies out there. Not every civilization agrees with the Council's new direction. We just need to find them, to remind them of what we once stood for together." Julianne's hand found his, squeezing gently. "Be careful out there, and come back to us." The moment passed, and Chancellor Ross strode out of his quarters, flanked by a small security detail. The corridors of the UEG complex were a buzz of controlled chaos, personnel rushing to and fro as Earth prepared for the possibility of interstellar war. At the spaceport, a sleek diplomatic vessel awaited. Its smooth lines belied the advanced defenses and countermeasures hidden beneath its hull. As Ross ascended the boarding ramp, he paused, turning to face the assembled crowd of officials and media. "People of Earth," he began, his voice carrying across the launch pad. "We stand at a crossroads. The path ahead is uncertain, fraught with danger. But know this, whatever comes, we face it together. We are humanity. We've survived ice ages, plagues, and our own destructive nature. We've reached for the stars and found our place among them, and now we will show the galaxy the true strength of the human spirit." A cheer went up from the crowd, a roar of defiance against the vastness of space and the threats that lurked within it. Ross allowed himself a small smile before boarding the ship. As the diplomatic vessel broke free of Earth's atmosphere, Ross settled into his quarters. He activated a secure comlink, connecting him to Admiral Spencer back on Earth. "We're en route, Patrick," he reported. "Estimated arrival at the Council station in 36 hours. Spencer's holographic form nodded. "Understood, sir. We'll be monitoring your signal constantly, if anything goes wrong." "I know," Ross interrupted. "You'll be ready, but let's hope it doesn't come to that." The journey through hyperspace was tense, filled with strategy sessions and contingency planning. Ross pored over reports, searching for any diplomatic leverage he could use to sway the Council. As they approached the massive space station that served as the Galactic Council's headquarters, Ross steeled himself for the confrontation to come. The station loomed before them, a sprawling construct of metal and energy fields, home to representatives from hundreds of spacefaring species. The diplomatic vessel docked smoothly, and Ross led his small delegation onto the station. The corridors were a cacophony of alien sights, sounds, and smells. Species from across the galaxy mingled, some eyeing the human delegation with curiosity, others with barely concealed hostility. At the entrance to the council chambers, Ross paused, taking a deep breath. The fate of humanity rested on what transpired beyond these doors. With a nod to his team, he stepped forward, the massive doors sliding open to reveal the amphitheater-like room where the destiny of worlds was decided. The Galactic Council awaited, their alien faces impassive. Councillor Mordecai's eyes gleamed with barely suppressed triumph as Ross took his place at the speaker's podium. The human chancellor stood tall, his voice clear and unwavering as he addressed the assembled representatives of 1,000 worlds. "Esteemed members of the Galactic Council," Ross began, his words echoing through the vast chamber. "I come before you today not just as the representative of Earth, but as a voice for reason, for justice, and for the very principles upon which this council was founded." The diplomatic dance had begun. The council chambers buzzed with a cacophony of alien languages as Ross took his position at the central podium. Hundreds of species, represented by their most esteemed diplomats, filled the towering amphitheater. The air crackled with tension, and Ross could feel the weight of countless eyes upon him. Councillor Mordecai's voice cut through the din, silencing the chamber. "The council recognizes Chancellor Harvey Ross of Earth. You may present your case, human." Ross straightened his shoulders, his gaze sweeping across the assembled representatives. "Esteemed members of the Galactic Council, I stand before you today not just as an advocate for Earth, but as a voice for the very principles this august body was founded upon." He paused, allowing his words to sink in. "The decision to extract resources from Earth without consent is not just a violation of our sovereignty. It's a betrayal of everything the Galactic Council claims to represent." Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Ross pressed on, his voice gaining strength. "Earth has been a loyal member of this council for generations. We've contributed to galactic peace, shared our unique insights, and stood shoulder to shoulder with our cosmic brethren in times of crisis." Councillor Vashitura, a being of living crystal from the Andromeda Galaxy, leaned forward. "Your contributions are noted, Chancellor. But surely you understand that the needs of the many outweigh the desires of the few." Ross turned to face her, his expression resolute. "With respect, Councillor, that argument has been used to justify atrocities throughout history. Today it's Earth, tomorrow it could be any of your worlds." The chamber erupted into heated debates. Ross could see the lines being drawn, some representatives nodding in agreement, others scoffing at his words. Mordecai's voice boomed over the commotion. "Enough! Chancellor Ross, your rhetoric is stirring, but it changes nothing. The decision has been made." "By whom?" Ross challenged, his eyes narrowing. "This council operates on principles of consensus and mutual respect. When was this vote taken? Which of you agreed to strip a sovereign world of its resources without so much as a discussion?" An uncomfortable silence fell over the chamber. Ross pressed his advantage. "I demand a formal vote, here and now, with all members present. Let's see who truly stands for the ideals of this council, and who would turn it into a tool of exploitation." Mordecai's scales rippled with barely contained anger. "You dare! I dare to uphold the Charter," Ross interrupted, his voice ringing clear. Article 7, Section 3. Any decision affecting a member world must be put to a full vote of the Council. I invoke that right. The tension in the room was palpable. Several councillors shifted uncomfortably in their seats, while others leaned forward with newfound interest. Councillor Ahon, a gaseous entity contained within an ornate suit, spoke up. "The human speaks truth. We cannot ignore our own laws, no matter how inconvenient they may be." Mordecai's eyes narrowed, but he nodded curtly. "Very well, we shall have a vote. But know this, Chancellor Ross, you may not like the outcome." As the voting process began, Ross could see the political maneuvering happening in real time. Whispered conversations, meaningful glances, and subtle gestures passed between various factions. He knew that Earth's fate hung in the balance, and he had to make every second count. "Before you cast your votes," Ross addressed the assembly, "I implore you to consider the precedent you're setting. Today, it's Earth's resources you covet. But what happens when the Council turns its gaze to your worlds? Who will stand with you then?" He gestured to a holographic display, showcasing Earth's scientific and cultural achievements. We've given the galaxy breakthroughs in medicine, art that has moved beings across the cosmos, and philosophical insights that have shaped galactic discourse. Are you really willing to sacrifice all of that for short-term gain? Counselor Tali Zora, a avian being known for her wisdom, spoke up. Chancellor Ross raises valid points. Perhaps we've been too hasty in our judgment. But Mordecai wasn't backing down. Hasty? We've deliberated for cycles. Earth's resources are vital for the continuation of several key galactic projects. The humans' emotional appeal changes nothing. The debate raged on, with counselors from various factions presenting their views. Ross watched carefully, noting which species seemed sympathetic to Earth's plight and which were firmly aligned with Mordecai's faction. As the arguments heated up, Ross noticed a subtle shift in the room's dynamics. Counselor Thax, a usually reserved representative of a silicon-based species, was quietly conversing with several other members. Their expressions were grim, and Ross could sense that something was amiss. Seizing a moment of relative calm, Ross addressed the council once more. Esteemed colleagues, I believe we're overlooking a crucial aspect of this situation. Earth's unique biosphere isn't just a resource to be exploited. It's a living laboratory that could hold the key to solving galactic-scale problems. He activated another holographic display, this one showing Earth's diverse ecosystems. Our planet's biodiversity is unparalleled in the known galaxy. The potential for medical breakthroughs alone is staggering. By working together, in true partnership, we could unlock benefits far greater than any short-term resource gain. This argument seemed to resonate with several counselors. Ross could see nods of agreement and thoughtful expressions. But just as it seemed the tide might be turning, Counselor Mordecai made his move. "Enough of this charade!" Mordecai roared, his patience clearly at an end. "We've indulged the humans' delusions long enough. I call for an immediate vote on the following motion. Earth is to be declared a protectorate of the Galactic Council, its resources to be managed for the greater good of all species." The chamber erupted into chaos. Ross's heart sank as he realized the trap he'd walked into. By invoking a vote, he'd given Mordecai the opportunity to formalize Earth's subjugation. "This is outrageous," Counselor Tali Zora protested. "We cannot simply..." But Mordecai pressed on, his voice drowning out all others. "The motion has been presented. We will vote now. Those in favor?" Ross watched in horror as hands, tentacles, and various alien appendages began to rise. It was clear that Mordecai had been orchestrating this for some time, securing allies and making deals behind the scenes. As the votes were tallied, Ross's mind raced. He had one last card to play, a desperate gambit that could change everything. "Before you finalize this vote," Ross said, his voice cutting through the commotion, "I have evidence of corruption within the council that directly relates to this decision." The chamber fell silent. All eyes turned to Ross. "Serious accusations, Chancellor," Mordecai hissed. "I hope you can back them up." Ross nodded grimly. "I can, but I'll need access to the council's secure data core to present it properly. Give me 1 hour, and I'll show you all the truth behind this so-called greater good." Murmurs of curiosity and concern rippled through the assembly. Mordecai's eyes narrowed, but he knew he couldn't dismiss such a claim outright without appearing suspicious. "Very well," the reptilian counselor said, his voice dripping with venom. "You have 1 hour. But if this is a ploy to delay the inevitable, the consequences will be severe." As Ross was escorted to a secure terminal, his mind started to race, analyzing all potential solutions. He had no such evidence, of course, but he needed time to think, to plan, and to set in motion the contingencies that he and his team had prepared for just such a scenario. The moment he was alone, Ross activated a hidden communicator in his sleeve. A series of rapid, encoded pulses were sent, a predetermined signal that would be picked up by Earth's deep space relays. It was the activation code for Operation Stop Being Nice. Back on Earth, in the heart of the United Earth Government's military command center, alarms began to blare. Admiral Patrick Spencer burst into the situation room, his face a mask of grim determination. "It's happening," he announced to the assembled leaders. "The Chancellor has given the signal. Operation Stop Being Nice is now active." The room erupted into a flurry of activity. Encrypted communications were sent to hidden military installations across the solar system. Stealth ships, long concealed in the depths of the Kuiper Belt, powered up their engines. And deep within Earth's crust, slumbering war machines began to awaken. General Morgenholtz's voice cut through the chaos. "All units, this is not a drill. I repeat, this is not a drill. Execute Protocol Omega. May God have mercy on our souls." As Earth's military machine roared to life, preparing for a conflict that would shake the very foundations of the galaxy, Chancellor Ross sat alone in the Council's secure room. He stared at the blank screen before him, knowing that in less than an hour, he would either save his world or condemn it. Suddenly, the door burst open. Mordecai stormed in, flanked by a contingent of hulking alien guards, their bio-enhanced muscles rippling beneath translucent skin. "Time's up, human," Mordecai snarled, his reptilian eyes gleaming with malice. "Where's this so-called evidence of corruption?" Ross stood slowly, his face a mask of defiance. "The evidence, Counselor, is all around us. It's in the way you've manipulated this council, in the decisions made in shadows." "Enough!" Mordecai roared. He turned to the other council members who had gathered at the door. "You see? The human has nothing. This was nothing more than a desperate ploy to buy time." Councillor Vashitura stepped forward, her crystalline form shimmering with barely contained anger. "Chancellor Ross, you have abused the trust of this council. You've made a mockery of our procedures and wasted our time with baseless accusations." Ross looked around the room, seeing a mix of anger, disappointment, and, from a few, a glimmer of sympathy. But it was clear that Mordecai's faction had won the day. "Chancellor Harvey Ross of Earth," Mordecai's voice boomed, carrying throughout the council chambers, "you are hereby charged with attempting to deceive the Galactic Council, obstructing official proceedings, and high treason against the collective good of galactic civilization." The guards moved in, their massive forms dwarfing Ross. As they grabbed his arms, Ross locked eyes with Mordecai. "You won't get away with this. Earth won't stand for it." Mordecai leaned in close, his forked tongue flicking out as he spoke. "Your pitiful planet doesn't stand a chance, human. By the time we're done, Earth will be nothing more than another resource-stripped world in our empire." As the guards began to drag him away, Ross made his move. In a flash, he twisted his body, using the momentum to slam his palm against a hidden panel on his belt. A soft beep confirmed the activation of the final signal, the last resort that would unleash Earth's full might against the galaxy that sought to subjugate it. "What was that?" Mordecai demanded, grabbing Ross by the collar. "What did you do?" Ross allowed himself a grim smile. "I just reminded the galaxy why they call us Deathworlders, Counselor. You wanted to see humanity's true nature? Well, congratulations. You're about to get a front row seat." The guards tightened their grip, hauling Ross out of the room and through the council chambers. Delegates from 100 worlds watched in shock as Earth's representative was paraded before them in chains. As he was dragged towards the detention area, Ross caught glimpses of the few allies he'd made during his time on the council. Some looked away in shame, while others met his gaze with resolve, silently communicating that this wasn't over. The cell door slammed shut behind Ross, the energy field humming to life. But even as he sat alone in the sterile alien prison, a spark of hope burned in his chest. He had done his part. Now it was up to Earth to show the galaxy what humanity was truly capable of when pushed too far. Back on Earth, in the heart of the military command center, a final encoded signal flashed across the primary screen. Admiral Spencer's eyes widened as he decrypted the message. He turned to the assembled war council, his voice steady but charged with the gravity of the moment. Ladies and gentlemen, the Chancellor has been taken. Operation Stop Being Nice is now in full effect. May God have mercy on us all, because we sure as hell won't have any for them. The diplomatic dance was over. Admiral Patrick Spencer stood before the enormous holographic display in Earth's Central Command, his weathered face illuminated by the swirling galaxy map. Red markers indicated known Galactic Council strongholds, while blue dots represented Earth's hidden fleets, now emerging from their concealment across the solar system. "Gentlemen," Spencer addressed the assembled commanders, his voice steady despite the weight of the moment, "the time for diplomacy has passed. Chancellor Ross has given us the signal. Operation Stop Being Nice is now in full effect." The room hummed with tense energy as each commander absorbed the gravity of the situation. General Morgan Holt, head of the ground forces, stepped forward. "Admiral, my troops are ready to deploy at a moment's notice. Just give the word." Spencer nodded, his eyes never leaving the galactic map. "The word is given, General. All units, commence operation." Across the solar system, hidden bases sprang to life. On Mars, massive hangar doors ground open, revealing rows of sleek, angular spacecraft that had never been seen by alien eyes. From the moons of Jupiter and Saturn, stealth carriers decloaked, their holds filled with swarms of fighter craft. In the asteroid belt, mining operations transformed in the blink of an eye, revealing their true nature as forward staging bases. Weapons platforms, long disguised as communication relays, powered up their targeting systems. Admiral Spencer's voice crackled over the secure comms. "This is it, people. Everything we've prepared for. Remember your training, trust in your teammates, and show these alien bastards why they should have left Earth alone." Commander Jack Reynolds, leader of the Sol Defense Squadron, felt a surge of adrenaline as he strapped into his command chair aboard the UES Defiant. "All wings report in," he ordered, his fingers dancing across the holographic controls. "Alpha Wing, standing by. Beta Wing, ready to kick some alien ass. Gamma Wing, locked and loaded." Reynolds allowed himself a grim smile. "All right, everyone, our first target is the Proxima Centauri relay station. It's the linchpin of the Council's early warning system in this sector. We take it out. We buy our main fleet the time it needs to mobilize." The Defiant's engines roared to life, joined by dozens of other ships emerging from their hidden docks in the Kuiper Belt. As one, they accelerated towards the edge of the solar system, preparing for the jump to faster-than-light travel. Meanwhile, in the skies above Earth, Operation Trojan Horse kicked into high gear. Hundreds of civilian ships, freighters, passenger liners, and private yachts began normal departure sequences. But as they cleared the atmosphere, hidden panels slid open, revealing state-of-the-art weaponry and advanced sensor suites. Colonel Maggie Yeoh, the lone female commander in this operation, coordinated the civilian fleet from her command post on the Moon. "Remember, people, maintain normal traffic patterns until you clear the Council's sensor net. We need to get as close to their primary defensive line as possible before they realize what's happening." Back in Central Command, Admiral Spencer watched as the pieces of humanity's grand strategy fell into place. He turned to his second-in-command, Captain David Craig. "Status report on the Ghost Fleet?" Craig consulted his data pad. "The Ghost Fleet has successfully breached the heliopause, Admiral. They're now beyond any known detection capabilities of the Council. ETA to the first target is T-3 hours. Spencer nodded, a fierce pride welling in his chest. The Ghost Fleet was humanity's ace in the hole. Ships built with technology reverse-engineered from crashed alien craft, incorporating stealth systems beyond anything the Council had ever encountered. As Earth's forces moved into position, the Galactic Council remained blissfully unaware of the storm about to break upon them. In the Council chambers, debates continued about how best to exploit Earth's resources, with Mordecai and his allies pushing for immediate action. It was Councillor Talizora, the avian being who had shown sympathy to Earth's plight, who first noticed something amiss. Her species' heightened senses picked up a subtle shift in the station's background hum. a change in the sensor array's power distribution. "Counselor Mordecai," she interrupted, her feathers ruffling with concern. "I believe we may have a problem." But before she could elaborate, alarms blared throughout the station. The main view screen flickered to life, showing a scene of chaos at the Proxima Centauri relay. Human ships, appearing seemingly out of nowhere, swarmed the station. Their weapons were unlike anything the Council had ever encountered. Beams of coherent dark matter that simply erased sections of the relay from existence. Mordecai's scales paled as he watched the relay, one of the most heavily defended outposts in that sector, crumble in a matter of minutes. "Impossible," he hissed. "How did they get past our early warning systems?" In the detention block, Chancellor Ross allowed himself a small, satisfied smile as he felt the subtle vibrations of weapons fire through the station's hull. "That's why you don't corner a Death Worlder," he murmured. As news of the attack spread, the Council's response was fragmented and chaotic. Some called for immediate retaliation, while others urged caution, fearful of the unknown capabilities Earth had suddenly revealed. But the humans weren't waiting for the Council to get its act together. Across the galaxy, carefully coordinated strikes were already underway. In the Arcturus system, a key shipyard of the Council erupted in a series of explosions. Commander Petrus Guerrera, leading a squadron of the revolutionary ghost ships, orchestrated a ballet of destruction. His vessels phased in and out of normal space, appearing inside the shipyard's defensive perimeter and unleashing salvos of quantum-destabilized torpedoes before vanishing again. "Target Alpha neutralized," Guerrera reported, his voice cool and professional despite the carnage unfolding around him. "Moving on to Target Beta. Remind all pilots, minimize casualties. We're here to cripple their military capabilities, not slaughter civilians." This directive, to avoid unnecessary loss of life, was a key component of Earth's strategy. It wasn't just about winning the war, it was about winning the peace that would follow. By demonstrating restraint even in the midst of overwhelming victory, humanity hoped to show the galaxy that they were not the barbarians some on the Council had painted them to be. As battles raged across known space, Earth's groundside defenses were not idle. General Holt oversaw the activation of the planet's shield network, a massive undertaking that had been disguised as a global clean energy project. Thousands of wind turbines and solar arrays across the planet's surface shimmered and transformed, revealing their true nature as advanced energy projectors. Within minutes, a shimmering dome of translucent energy enveloped the Earth, capable of withstanding even the mightiest weapons in the Council's known arsenal. "Shield network at 100% capacity," one of Holt's lieutenants reported. "We can withstand sustained bombardment for months, sir." Holt nodded grimly. "Let's hope it doesn't come to that. Our best defense is a good offense. What's the status on the counter-invasion forces?" In response, another holographic display sprang to life, showing massive troop carriers rising from hidden bases in the Mariana Trench and the Antarctic ice shelves. Each carrier held thousands of power-armored soldiers, ready to deploy to any world that dared to strike at Earth. Meanwhile, in the Oort cloud, humanity's most ambitious project was about to be unveiled. A swarm of automated construction ships had been working for decades, hidden from prying eyes, to build something unprecedented. Admiral Spencer's voice rang out across all channels. "All units, this is Overlord. Commence Operation Checkmate." In response, the Oort cloud seemed to come alive. Millions of objects, ranging from the size of a fist to that of a small moon, began to move. But these were no ordinary asteroids or comets. They were a vast armada of automated war machines, each one packed with the most advanced technology Earth had to offer. As the swarm accelerated towards the inner solar system, its true scale became apparent. It was a force capable of overwhelming entire star systems, a testament to humanity's industrial might and technological ingenuity. Back at the front lines, Earth's forces continued to make rapid gains. The Council's defensive lines, designed to repel conventional attacks, proved woefully inadequate against humanity's unconventional tactics and unknown technologies. Commander Reynolds, leading the assault on a critical Council communications hub, marveled at the effectiveness of their new weapons. "It's like they're fighting with sticks and stones," he muttered as another enemy cruiser succumbed to the Defiant's dark matter cannons. But it wasn't just superior firepower that gave humanity the edge. Years of studying Council tactics and technologies had allowed Earth strategists to develop perfect countermeasures. Every feint, every standard maneuver the Council forces attempted was met with a devastating response. In the Sirius system, a major Council fleet attempted to regroup and mount a counteroffensive. But they found themselves outmaneuvered at every turn by the Ghost fleet. Ships appeared and disappeared faster than targeting computers could lock on, striking with surgical precision before fading back into the void. Colonel Yo's civilian fleet, now deep in Council space, sprung its trap. What the Council had dismissed as harmless transport ships suddenly revealed their true nature. Weapons blossomed from hidden compartments, and advanced ECM suites scrambled enemy communications. "All ships, execute Plan Omega," Yo ordered. Her fleet split into dozens of smaller groups, each targeting a different Council outpost or supply line. The Council's logistical network, already strained by the sudden onslaught, began to crumble. As reports of human victories flooded in from across the galaxy, the mood in Earth's Central Command was one of cautious optimism. They had achieved total strategic surprise, but Admiral Spencer knew that the real test was yet to come. "We've bloodied their nose," he told his assembled commanders. "But make no mistake, the Council still outnumbers us. They have resources we can only dream of. This is just the beginning." Captain Craig approached with a data pad. "Sir, we're receiving transmissions from several non-Council worlds. They're offering support." Spencer raised an eyebrow. "Support?" Craig nodded. "Yes, sir. It seems our demonstration of power, combined with our restraint in targeting civilian populations, has impressed some of the neutral systems. They're volunteering ships, resources, even troops." A murmur of excitement rippled through the command center. This was an unexpected development, one that could tip the scales decisively in Earth's favor. Spencer allowed himself a small smile. "Well, well. It seems the galaxy is full of surprises. Patch me through to these potential allies. Let's see if we can't turn this war into a revolution." As Earth's forces continued their advance, pushing through the Council's first lines of defense with shocking speed, the true scale of humanity's preparations became clear. This was no mere retaliation. It was a carefully orchestrated campaign to reshape the balance of power in the galaxy. The massive form of the Galactic Council station loomed ahead, its ornate spires and sprawling docks a stark contrast to the sleek, predatory shapes of the approaching human fleet. Admiral Patrick Spencer stood on the bridge of the UES Indomitable, his life-lined face illuminated by the holographic displays surrounding him. "All ships, maintain formation," Spencer's voice carried across the comm channels. "Remember your training. We're not here for wholesale destruction. Precision and control are key." Commander Jack Reynolds, leading the vanguard aboard the UES Defiant, acknowledged the order. "Copy that, Admiral. Alpha and Beta wings are moving into position to engage the outer defense grid." As if on cue, the space around the station erupted in a dazzling display of energy weapons. Massive defense platforms, concealed within the station's intricate architecture, sprang to life. Beams of coherent plasma lanced out, seeking to vaporize the approaching human ships. But humanity had prepared for this moment. The lead ships shimmered, their advanced stealth systems bending light and energy around them. The station's targeting computers struggled to maintain a lock, their shots passing harmlessly through holographic decoys. "Now," Reynolds barked, "all wings, execute maneuver theta." The human fleet split apart with breathtaking precision. Smaller, nimbler craft darted forward, weaving through the defensive fire with impossible agility. These weren't ordinary pilots. They were a new breed of neural-linked operators, their reflexes and decision-making capabilities enhanced beyond normal human limits. As the fighters engaged the station's outer defenses, larger cruisers moved into position. Their hulls opened, revealing banks of missiles unlike anything the galaxy had seen before. With a silent command, the missiles launched, leaving trails of distorted space in their wake. Quantum phase missiles away, Captain Maggie Yo reported from her position coordinating the strike. Impact in 3, 2, 1. The missiles struck the station's shields and passed right through them. They phased back into normal space within the shield perimeter, detonating with pinpoint precision against key defensive emplacements. Sections of the station's outer ring went dark as power systems failed. Inside the council chambers, panic reigned. Mordecai bellowed orders, his scales flushed with rage and fear. "Where are our reinforcements? Contact the home fleets now!" Counselor Talizora, her feathers ruffled with agitation, turned to her fellow council members. "We must sue for peace. Can't you see? The humans are not here to destroy us. They're showing remarkable restraint. If we continue this madness, we risk losing everything." But her words fell on deaf ears. The majority of the council, long accustomed to their unchallenged dominance, couldn't fathom the idea of capitulating to a species they had dismissed as primitive. Back on the Indomitable, Admiral Spencer received an urgent communication. "Sir," his tactical officer reported, "we're detecting multiple hyperspace signatures. It appears the Council's reinforcements have arrived." Spencer's eyes narrowed. "Right on schedule. Patch me through to Commander Guerrera." Petrus Guerrera's face appeared on the comm screen, his expression one of controlled excitement. "Standing by, Admiral. Ghost Fleet is in position and ready to spring the trap." "Execute Operation Checkmate," Spencer ordered. As the Council's reinforcements emerged from hyperspace, a massive armada of ships from a dozen different species, they expected to catch the human fleet in a deadly crossfire. Instead, they found themselves face to face with the impossible. The Ghost Fleet, hidden in the void between normal and hyperspace, revealed itself. Vessels of sleek alien design, built with technology that pushed the boundaries of known physics, materialized around the Council reinforcements. Before the alien ships could react, they found themselves enveloped in fields of distorted space-time. "Target their engines and weapons," Guerrera commanded his fleet. "Disable, don't destroy. Let's show them the meaning of precision warfare." The battle that ensued was unlike anything the galaxy had ever witnessed. The Ghost Fleet ships danced through space, their movements unpredictable and seemingly impossible. They phased in and out of reality, striking with weapons that seemed to ignore shields and armor alike. Council ships found their systems failing, their crews disoriented by waves of exotic particles that scrambled both machines and organic minds. Some vessels simply drifted, their power cores shut down by targeted electromagnetic pulses. From his cell in the Council station, Chancellor Ross felt the tremors of battle. A fierce pride swelled in his chest as he realized the full extent of humanity's plan. They weren't just fighting a war, they were rewriting the rules of engagement. As the reinforcements crumbled under the onslaught of the Ghost Fleet, the main human armada pressed its advantage. The station's defenses, already reeling from the initial assault, now faced a renewed and intensified attack. Admiral Spencer's voice rang out across all channels, addressing both his fleet and the defenders. "This is your final warning. Power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded. Any further resistance will be met with overwhelming force." Inside the station, the mood shifted. Lower-ranking staff and representatives from less militant species began to question the Council's hardline stance. Murmurs of dissent spread through the corridors as the reality of the situation sank in. Seizing the moment of uncertainty, a small group of sympathetic aliens made their move. Led by Counselor Talizora, they began working to undermine the station's remaining defenses from within. As the last of the Council's reinforcements were neutralized, the human fleet regrouped for their final push. Admiral Spencer coordinated with his commanders, outlining the final phase of their assault. "Commander Reynolds, your team will lead the boarding parties. Colonel Yo, provide close fire support. Commander Guerrera, keep the Ghost Fleet in reserve. We may need them if the Council has any more surprises." The officers acknowledged their orders, their faces set with determination. This was the moment they had trained for, the culmination of years of preparation and sacrifice. As the human ships closed in on the station, its remaining defenses lashed out in a desperate final stand. Energy beams and plasma torpedoes crisscrossed space, creating a deadly web of destruction. But the human fleet was relentless. They pushed forward, their advanced shields absorbing punishment that would have vaporized lesser vessels. Precision strikes disabled weapon emplacements and shield generators, systematically dismantling the station's ability to resist. Inside the council chambers, Mordecai watched in disbelief as his grand plans crumbled. "How?" he snarled. "How could they have hidden such power?" Counselor Talizora fixed Mordecai with a steely gaze. "Perhaps, Counselor, it's time we considered the possibility that we gravely underestimated the humans, and that our actions have awakened something we may not be able to control." As if in response to her words, a new alert blared. The main view screen shifted to show an image that sent a chill through every being in the chamber. The vast swarm from the Oort cloud, now visible to council senses, bearing down on their position like an unstoppable tide. The message was clear: humanity had been pushed too far, and now the galaxy would feel the full might of a species that had evolved on a world that tried to kill them every day. The Deathworlders had decided to stop being nice, and the Council was only beginning to understand the grave mistake they had made in provoking them. With the station's defenses in shambles and the Council's reinforcements neutralized, the human fleet began its final approach. Boarding shuttles detached from the larger ships, streaking toward the station like a swarm of deadly meteors. Admiral Spencer's voice crackled over the comm one last time. "All units, prepare for boarding action. Remember your training, stick to the plan, and show these aliens why Earth has stood undefeated for millennia." As the boarding shuttles closed in, the station's remaining point defense systems came to life in a desperate attempt to repel the invaders. But it was too little, too late. The human ships weaved through the barrage with inhuman precision, their pilots' enhanced reflexes and AI assistance allowing them to predict and avoid every shot. The first shuttles impacted against the station's hull, magnetic clamps engaging as they sought breach points. Swarms of smaller drone-like devices preceded the human troops, using advanced sensors to map out internal defenses and identify optimal entry points. Inside the station, chaos reigned. Alarms blared as security forces scrambled to repel the boarders. But they were facing an enemy unlike any they had encountered before. The human troops, clad in powered armor that made them more machine than flesh, burst through airlocks and emergency bulkheads with terrifying efficiency. As the human forces secured a beachhead within the station, Admiral Spencer allowed himself a grim smile. The path to the council chambers lay open, and with it, the chance to reshape the galaxy's balance of power. The Deathworlders had arrived, and the Galactic Council's reign of unchallenged authority was about to come to an end. Admiral Spencer's voice crackled over the secure comm channel. "All units, this is Overlord. Commence Operation Thunderbolt." Across the station, hidden transmitters activated, broadcasting a carefully crafted message on all frequencies. Chancellor Ross's voice echoed through every corridor and chamber, calling for unity against corruption and tyranny. The effect was immediate. Throughout the station, riots erupted as oppressed species and lower-ranking staff turned on their former masters. Security forces, already stretched thin trying to repel the human invaders, found themselves fighting a war on two fronts. Commander Jack Reynolds led the first wave of human troops into the station's main concourse. Energy weapons crisscrossed the air as Council loyalists fought a desperate holding action. "Alpha Team, secure the left flank," Reynolds barked. "Beta, with me. We're punching straight through to the central elevators." The human soldiers moved with inhuman speed and precision, their power armor allowing them to shrug off attacks that would have vaporized unprotected flesh. They fought like a surgical strike team, each movement calculated for maximum efficiency and minimal collateral damage. As they advanced, a group of massive, cybernetically enhanced aliens charged towards them. Reynolds grinned behind his helmet. "Activate EMPs." The human squad triggered electromagnetic pulse generators built into their armor. The advancing cyborgs stumbled, their enhanced systems shorting out. Before they could recover, the humans were upon them, using superior speed and agility to outmaneuver the lumbering giants. Meanwhile, in the depths of the station, Chancellor Ross felt the vibrations of battle through the walls of his cell. When the door slid open, he was ready. "Chancellor!" Counselor Talizora called out, flanked by a small group of allied aliens. "We need to move now!" Ross nodded, falling in step with the group as they navigated the chaotic corridors. "Status report?" "The humans are advancing on all fronts," Talizora explained as they ran. "Mordecai and his loyalists have barricaded themselves in the council chambers, but it's only a matter of time." A massive explosion rocked the station. Alarms blared as emergency force fields snapped into place, containing the breach. "That would be the main assault," Ross said grimly. "We need to get to the control room." They rounded a corner, coming face to face with a squad of council security forces. For a moment, both groups froze, weapons raised. Then, the alien sergeant lowered his weapon. "Chancellor," he said, his translator struggling to convey the mix of respect and desperation in his voice. We surrender. Please, end this madness." It was a scene playing out across the station. As news of the human advance spread, more and more of the Council's forces realized the futility of resistance. Years of resentment towards corrupt leadership bubbled to the surface, turning former enemies into unlikely allies. In the main hangar bay, Admiral Spencer stepped off his shuttle, surveying the chaos around him. Fires burned unchecked in several areas, and the air was thick with smoke and the acrid smell of weapons discharge. "Sir," his aide reported, "we've secured approximately 70% of the station. Resistance is crumbling, but Mordecai and his inner circle are still holed up in the council chambers." Spencer nodded, his face grim. "Then that's where we're headed. Get me a direct line to Reynolds." As Spencer's team fought their way towards the heart of the station, the scene in the council chambers was one of utter desperation. Mordecai paced frantically, his scales pale with fear and rage. "How?" he snarled at the few remaining loyalists. "How could those primitive apes have done this? We are the Galactic Council. We are supreme." Counselor Vashitura, her crystalline form clouded with stress, finally snapped. "Enough, Mordecai. Your arrogance and greed have brought us to this. It's over." The massive doors to the chamber began to glow red-hot. The metal warped and bubbled, then exploded inward in a shower of molten debris. Through the smoke strode Chancellor Ross, flanked by Admiral Spencer and Commander Reynolds. Behind them, a phalanx of human troops and allied aliens filled the corridor. "Counselor Mordecai!" Ross's voice carried across the chamber, amplified by his suit speakers. "In the name of Earth and all the peoples you have wronged, I place you under arrest." Mordecai's eyes darted wildly, searching for an escape. Finding none, he reached for a hidden weapon, only to find his arm immobilized by some invisible force. "I wouldn't," Spencer said calmly, lowering a device that hummed with exotic energy. "Localized stasis field. One of the many tricks we picked up while you thought we were just a bunch of primitive apes." As Mordecai and his remaining loyalists were secured, Ross turned to address the assembled aliens, a mix of council members, staff, and representatives from countless worlds. "Today marks the end of an era," he began, his voice carrying the weight of history. "For too long, the Galactic Council has been a tool of oppression, wielded by the few to control the many. That ends now." He paused, letting his words sink in. "But this is not the end of the Council itself. Rather, it is a new beginning, a chance to build something truly great, a galactic community based on mutual respect, cooperation, and justice for all species." As Ross spoke, holographic displays throughout the station and across the galaxy came to life. The faces of human leaders, allied alien species, and even some former council members appeared, each adding their voice to the call for a new order. We stand at a crossroads, Ross continued. The path ahead will not be easy. There will be challenges, disagreements, and hard choices to make. But I believe that together, we can create a future brighter than any single species could achieve alone. Ross gestured to the human soldiers and allied aliens around him. Look at what we've accomplished here today. Species that were once enemies, now standing side by side against tyranny. This is the power of unity, of shared purpose. He turned to face Mordecai and the other arrested counselors. To those who have abused their power, who have exploited and oppressed others for personal gain, I say this: your reign is over. You will face justice for your crimes, not in vengeance, but in the pursuit of a more just galaxy for all. Ross's voice grew stronger, filled with determination. To the peoples of the galaxy, I make this solemn commitment. Earth and its allies will work tirelessly to dismantle the systems of oppression that have held so many in bondage. We will establish new protocols for interstellar cooperation, based on mutual respect and shared prosperity. He paused, his gaze sweeping across the room and beyond, to the countless worlds watching this broadcast. But we cannot do this alone. We call upon all species, all worlds, to join us in this endeavor. Together we can build a galactic civilization that will stand as a beacon of hope for generations to come. As Ross finished speaking, a moment of profound silence fell over the chamber. Then, slowly at first, but building to a crescendo, applause and cheers erupted. Species that had been bitter enemies only hours before found themselves united in hope for a better future. Admiral Spencer stepped forward, placing a hand on Ross's shoulder. "Well said, Chancellor. But we're not done yet." Ross nodded, his expression resolute. "Indeed we're not. This is just the beginning." With a gesture, Ross signaled to the human troops. They moved swiftly, securing Mordecai and the other corrupt counselors. As they were led away, their once grand robes now tattered and stained, the weight of their crimes seemed to hang heavy upon them. "Take them to the holding cells," Ross ordered. "They'll stand trial for their actions, with full transparency for all the peoples of the galaxy to witness." As the prisoners were escorted out, Ross turned to the remaining council members and representatives. "We have much work to do. The transition won't be easy, but it's necessary. I call upon each of you to lend your expertise, your unique perspectives to help shape this new galactic order." Counselor Tali Zora stepped forward, her avian features set with determination. "Chancellor Ross, you have the full support of my people. We've long dreamed of a more just council, and we stand ready to help make that dream a reality." One by one, other representatives voiced their support. Even those who had initially been skeptical of human intentions found themselves swayed by the vision Ross had laid out. As the impromptu meeting continued, plans were quickly drawn up for emergency relief efforts to worlds that had suffered under the old regime. Task forces were established to audit the Council's past decisions, to right old wrongs, and establish new protocols for interstellar governance. Throughout it all, Ross remained at the center, coordinating efforts and mediating disputes with a steady hand. The skills that had made him an effective diplomat now served him well as he navigated the complex web of interspecies politics. The Deathworlders had shown the galaxy their strength. Now, they would show it their wisdom, their compassion, and their unwavering commitment to a better future for all sentient beings. Hey there again. I'm glad you've come so far. Hope you enjoyed the video. Remember to hit the like button and the subscribe button. This is really important to the channel. Really important.